Hello and welcome to Raj Sabha Television. I am Akhilesh Suman and you are watching our special report. In this report, we take you to different issues of Indian foreign policy that provides us a unique position in the world. So in this episode of our special report, we are in Bhutan and you might recognize the statue of Mahatma Buddha that is 169 feet high at the mountains of Bhutan. But we are going to show in this episode India's engagement in Bhutan and how it helped peace and development in the whole region.
Rajya Sabha TV studied aspects of India-Bhutan ties, talked to people on the ground and was witness to the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Bhutan. Narendra Modi's visit goes down in history as unique. The elation of the people of Bhutan at this visit, their understanding of democracy through its successes in India, and their joy in the strength they derive from India's size and economy is heartwarming. Borders divide the two nations, but hearts beat as one. This is no election rally crowd. It reflects a flood of warmth and emotion out to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Bhutanese soil. From Paro Airport to its capital in Thimphu, the human wall created by Bhutanese children, women and youth showed up a natural friendship between the two countries. The Prime Minister of Bhutan himself led this celebration of bonhomie.
It is about celebrating our ties of friendship. It is about celebrating an honest celebration of our friendship.
The reasons for this happiness were obvious. Within a month of his swearing in, Prime Minister Modi chose to visit Bhutan as his first visit abroad. The visit between 15th and 16th June 2014 was an expression of respect and love for the people of the Himalayan country. Modi was here with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh, and his message was clear. India's affection for Bhutan is irrespective of the government in power there.
भारत और भूटान के संबंध सिर्फ शासकीय व्यवस्थाओं के कारण नहीं है। भारत और भूटान के संबंध सांस्कृतिक विरासत के कारण है, सांस्कृतिक परंपराओं के हमारे बंधनों के कारण है।
Bhutan's cultural relations with India go back to the 8th century BC, when the Indian guru Padmasambhava reached out for spread of Buddhism. He became famous in this landlocked country as Guru Rinpoche, and most of Bhutan embraced Buddhism.
Bhutanese love their culture and in these villages, they see a place called Chotem. This Chotem is the place where they not only worship but they sit and chat together to how to preserve their culture. They also contribute from their wealth to preserve this type of places of their culture and religion.
By choosing Bhutan as the destination of his first official visit as Prime Minister, Narendra Modi's message was clear that India and Bhutan are a model of bilateral engagement in Asia and also in the world.
Our vision of development should be common. should be for Bharat and Bharat should be for Bhutan.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Bhutan adds a new dimension in India's foreign policy. That means reciprocity is the key, friends with friendly nations.
Addressing a joint session of both houses of Parliament of Bhutan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserted that Bhutan will benefit from India's strength. And not only Bhutan, other SAARC nations will also benefit. A new unambiguous approach to foreign policy implementation.
भारत के समृद्ध होने से इस पूरे भूखंड में और विशेष करके 7 देशों की भलाई के लिए भारत का सुखी संपन्न होना आवश्यक है। तभी जाकर के भारत अपने अड़ोस पड़ोस के छोटे छोटे देशों की कठिनाइयों को दूर करने में काम आ सकता है।
The Prime Minister was not speaking in a vacuum. With this reciprocity at work, India always took care of Bhutan and accorded it with equal treatment. There have been numerous occasions when India invited Bhutan King as chief guest on Republic Day celebrations. Look at these visuals. India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru on his way to Bhutan in 1958. Bhutan had no proper roads or airport at the time, so Nehru had travelled by donkey and yak to the Bhutanese capital via India's border in Phutsoling. Travelling over rough terrain to get a feel of the life in the neighbourhood, Nehru was cut off for 7 days from the rest of the world. But he never looked back. He reached Thimphu and assured Bhutan that India would always respect its independence.
जैसे हमें अपने देश के लिए प्रिय है, वैसे ही हमें औरों के लिए भी स्वतंत्रता प्रिय है.
In modern times, this engagement between these two closest neighbors, India and Bhutan, began after the meeting of two visionary leaders, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, and the third King of Bhutan, Jigme Dorji Wangchuk.
Before this visit, Bhutan had withdrawn itself into self-isolation. There was a scare that some outside forces may capture the tiny country. It was only India that could reassure and take Bhutan out of its isolation.
Even when Bhutan is a tiny country, people have been trained to live in a certain type of discipline. India and Bhutan are the best friends on the globe, and it cannot be compared with any other countries. Be it a strategic, diplomatic or economic, India and Bhutan never look back. And that is why Prime Minister Tobge said that there is no limitation of India-Bhutan relationship.
Fear of pressure from the British brought Bhutan closer to India after its independence in 1947. Both countries understood each other's importance and came together in a treaty for perpetual friendship. On 8th August 1949 in Darjeeling, they signed a treaty for togetherness. This, along with its revision in 2007, has become a testimony of permanent friendship between the two countries. The treaty espouses perpetual peace and friendship between India and Bhutan, laying down that India would not interfere in the internal affairs of Bhutan and that there would be free trade between the two sides. India also agrees to give free passage to Bhutan. Bhutan agrees not to buy weapons from any country without India's consent. At-par treatment of each other's citizens and repatriation of criminals are part of the treaty. This treaty was necessary for both the countries to save themselves from external aggression or conspiracy. This treaty was meant to ensure that Bhutan does not become a victim of confrontation among the big powers.
We are standing at the 0 point between Tibet, that is between China and Bhutan. Earlier this way was open between Tibetans and Bhutanese for going, coming and also for local trades. but China blocked this road, and now Bhutanese have also blocked this road. Now there is no diplomatic relation between China and Bhutan.
After seeing the way Tibet was treated by the Chinese, Bhutan decided to club its future totally with India forever. This culminated in positive engagement and the beginning of its first 5-year plan on the same lines as India in 1961. The Planning Commission of India formulated Bhutan's first 5-year plan. To this day, India is instrumental in implementing Bhutan's national plans. Many of Bhutan's 5-year plans were implemented by India. In 2014, the Indian budget provided 6,074 crore rupees for Bhutan. India helps Bhutan in areas of education, transport, health, agriculture, cattle rearing, electricity, roads and other infrastructure.
This is the road that connects Bhutan's capital Thimphu to its bordering town towards India, Phuentsholing. This road has been made by Dantak, a unit of border road organization in India. Almost all roads of Bhutan are made by this organization. This is an example of India-Bhutan cooperation.
Dantak was established in 1961, the year when the first 5-year plan was launched in Bhutan on the lines of India. BRO Dantak has constructed more than 1,800 kilometers of roads in Bhutan. It has also built the airports in Paro and Yangphula and many helipads across the country. BRO Dantak has also established a radio station, telecommunication and hydropower stations and made cement factories and housing complexes. India takes care of most needs of the Bhutan economy, which in itself is very small. Bhutan on its part complies with the principle of reciprocity.
Bhutan is the only place in Asia that has chosen the path of sustainable development with concern for environment. It has not allowed its country and the people to join the mad race of industrialization and modernization. India has always welcomed the decision of Bhutan and has helped Bhutan in their own way. Welcome back. I am Akhilesh Suman and you are watching our special report on India-Bhutan relationship. Now we are standing before India House, that is Indian Embassy in Bhutan. This is the place from where our diplomats strategize relationship between the two countries and they tell us how the relationship can be strengthened further.
Take a look at this lively, progressive city, certainly not one that looks like the capital of an underdeveloped nation. Even beyond Thimphu, the situation is the same, and that's precisely the reason why the people of Bhutan living in these places feel so close to India in some way or another.
I have studied in India in terms of both schooling and higher studies in college. I also, like many of my colleagues in the media, we have received our training in India. I had the privilege of working with the Indian Express newspaper in Delhi for 2 years.
We are very happy that India has always been very supportive to Bhutan.
I think India is beautiful and I love India.
And this voice is not just the urban one. Rajya Sabha TV visited the countryside of the Himalayan country. Here too, man-provided facilities abound. We studied Bhutanese families, their homes and their lifestyles, and we found that they are happy even as they recognize India's contribution and friendship.
Whatever we do in Bhutan, like for example, even on agriculture sector, even in the cultivation of our crops, organic farming, everything, India government is giving budget to Bhutan. So indirectly or directly, they are the main supporter of Bhutan.
With the idea of preserving its unique geographical and cultural identity, Bhutan decided against joining the race of industrialization. Instead, the Himalayan state adopted policies that promise happiness for the common man. And to make this policy a national goal, former King of Bhutan Jigme Singye Wangchuk came up with the novel idea of gross national happiness. This is in contrast with gross domestic product that measures pace of development in a country.
We have had a lot of success in bringing about a good GNH based development model in Bhutan. Some call it the happiness development model. This basically means that because we have financial support from India and grants from India, we do not have to exploit our natural resources too much. We don't have to go in for full-scale industrialization.
It was India's sustained and assured assistance to Bhutan that in large measure moved the king to adopt a happiness index as a national goal. It became possible to a great extent because India took care of Bhutan's needs so that the country could make sustained use of its natural resources.
Maybe not to the extent of the level of industries that India has, but I think something that is more suitable to the level of economy of Bhutan. I think it's necessary, but as an environmental person, I would say that all those have to be environmentally cautious.
These then are Bhutan's existing industries, juice and milk making companies. Bhutan has allowed very limited access to industry on its territory.
People can come here easily. We can increase the employmentship of Indian as well as the Bhutanese people.
Bhutanese industrialists also recognize this strong link with India. They are keen that India increases its investment in landlocked countries. They also want India to help Bhutanese industrialists.
If there is some sort of, from the government of India, if there is some, if they can look towards creating finances that can be made available at a little lower cost for traders and business people in Bhutan, I think that would be of huge benefit to the business community in Bhutan.
In addition, while keeping up formal ties with Bhutan's banks, India has also kept the value of its rupee at par with Bhutan's currency. Because of this, the Indian rupee is welcomed everywhere in Bhutan, and the Bhutanese ngultrum is welcome in border areas of India adjoining Bhutan. This arrangement has been working for years, and a day may come when, adopting this model, all SAARC countries may use their currencies in all member countries.
The biggest cooperation between India and Bhutan is the energy cooperation. This is clean energy and this is hydro energy. It doesn't only give energy to India, but it also gives energy to Bhutan for a stability of its democracy.
Since it happens to be the best resource they have, not harnessing in time would mean losing it forever. What is flowing today, that is actually white gold going waste. So as much development possible, as sustained development.
Bhutan's most abundant natural resource is water. With India's help and cooperation, the country uses it for irrigation and electricity generation. There's a goal of generating 10,000 megawatts of electricity. We're at the Chuka power plant. This is the oldest power plant in Bhutan and was built with India's cooperation. This 326 megawatt plant was built in 1988 and was inaugurated by the then President of India, R. Venkatraman. Bhutan's rivers are typically so different that they cause the least displacement while making dams. Power plants are meticulously planned. Residents of the vicinity are adequately compensated.
If you ask a village or you ask a community whether you want a project or not, communities will start fighting amongst themselves to say that we want the project in our community, because there is a socio-economic gain from bringing in such large hydropower projects.
In the early days, India established dams and power plants in Bhutan with its own resources and engineers. From the day of their inception, India started purchasing electricity. They were handed over to the Bhutanese authorities after 2 years of functioning.
If if you look at the financing that the government of India provides, the debt financing is normally of very simple interest, low interest, simple low interest with no guarantees required to be provided. The equity is being given to the government of Bhutan free of cost as a grant. So when you have an equity which is grant and you have a loan which is simple interest and that interest rate is also very low, definitely your cost of construction of a project are far more lower.
Today, Bhutan earns good revenue from its hydroelectric power plants. India continues to provide help in the form of grants and loans. This enables continuation of development work and functioning of the government machinery.
Green trees, high mountains, solid rocks in Bhutan, and now you see the Tala Dam. This is the Tala Dam, the biggest ever dam with India's support in Bhutan. And the water that flows from here to the power plant generates 1020 megawatt electricity.
Cooperation of this level is almost unknown in any bilateral global relationship. The India-Bhutan relationship is a victory of India's diplomatic efforts to ensure development of its allies in a way that they can stand on their own feet.
In the relationship, shared interest, shared security, shared prosperity, shared values that came out of culture and tradition.
Bhutan has reciprocated in full measure. Time was when terrorist and extremist elements had taken shelter in Bhutan and all appeals to shun violence had fallen on deaf ears. Bhutan clamped down and flushed them out in a military action. Then King Jigme Singye Wangchuck had directly supervised this operation.
Friendly neighbor of India, the closest friendly neighbor of India, it has also burden of common security.
Bhutan and India relationship is a blueprint for the region because it shows how a big neighbor and a small neighbor can have a very good relationship with mutual respect and mutual cooperation and mutual benefit.
This gate on the India-Bhutan border tells just this story of natural bonhomie between the two countries. On one side is Phuntsholing of Bhutan, on the other is Jaigaon in West Bengal in India. Travel across on foot or by any vehicle, you will not be stopped. There will be no questions asked, no visa or even a passport. It's like moving into any other part of India.
Indian tourists will find it the easiest to visit Bhutan because unlike international tourists, they don't have to pay any visa fee. They will get permits much easier. And at the same time, we are going all out to attract Indian tourists to Bhutan from Indian cities.
It's only when an Indian national travels beyond Phuntsholing that a permit is required to travel into specific zones of the ecologically fragile country. A valid Indian voter ID guarantees this permit too.
But in India, Bhutanese don't need any permit. Like an Indian, they can go anywhere, they can live anywhere, and they can do whatever they want for their employment.
Even till India's independence, Bhutan remained a full monarchy, yet another reflection of the close cooperation and understanding between the neighbors.
Bhutan is now a vibrant democracy, but surprisingly, it was established by none other than the Bhutanese king. Bhutanese king is said to be most clever and wise in this respect that before anyone could hear the reverberations for democracy, he gave the democratic rights to the people of Bhutan. First, the people from the monarchy came to the politics, and then common people started joining politics. One can say now that the Prime Minister of Bhutan is not from monarchy, he has come from a common man's family.
And in years to come after independence, the Bhutanese learnt a lot from India's march of democracy.
We are inside Bhutan's parliament now. Like India, Bhutan's parliament also have two houses. One is National Assembly that is parallel to Lok Sabha, another is National Council that is parallel to Rajya Sabha. even if it was established in 2008, Bhutan's democracy and polity is gaining ground and it is getting its roots inside the society.
With Bhutan's economy growing at a stable pace and a people-friendly administration in power, India took up the cause of ensuring Bhutan's recognition as a country at the international fora. Bhutan attained UN observer status in 1970. In 1973, it got membership of the non-aligned movement. The country was accorded full membership of the United Nations in 1978. On the map of the world, Bhutan is little more than a dot among the smallest nations on the planet. Yet it moves with head held high, fearless and mindful of its people's welfare.
Indo-Bhutan relationship is a very special kind of relationship. It's very mutual.
Trust, mutual respect, sharing and caring. The bonds that tie India and Bhutan. A model for the world to see.
And this is the last point of Bhutan towards India. Beyond this gate, you can see India through it. And we are also at the fag end of our program. What we have found, Bhutan should not be construed as a strategic point and confrontation. Let us consider Bhutan as a center of gravity in Asia for peace, for harmony and for progress. Akhilesh, Suman with camera person Saroj for Raj Sabha television in Bhutan, thankfully. We will meet again. Keep watching Raj Sabha television.